You think you know what Costco is: a warehouse, bulk goods, low prices, the $1.50 hot dog. You pay $65 a year, you save money on groceries. Everyone wins. That's what they want you to think. Here is what is actually happening. Costco's entire product operation, $249 billion in merchandise sales in 2024, generates less than 2% profit margin. Less than 2 cents on every dollar. They are running a $250 billion retail business, almost at cost, on purpose, structurally, by design. So where does the profit come from? Not the groceries, not the electronics, not the bulk olive oil you definitely did not need but bought anyway. The profit, more than half of it, comes from the card in your wallet, before you buy a single thing. Costco is not a retailer that charges a membership fee. It is a membership business that runs a retail operation as a disguise. And once you see that, the whole model opens up. The $4.99 rotisserie chicken, the $1.50 hot dog that has not changed price since 1985. Costco loses tens of millions on these products every year and has no intention of stopping. So the question is not whether that is strange. The question is, why would one of the most profitable retailers on earth engineer its own losses? Because Costco is not a retailer. That is the business they are hiding. Here is what $254 billion in annual revenue is actually concealing. The facts are not hidden. They are laid out in black and white, deep inside Costco's 2024 SEC filing. Net sales from merchandise, gasoline, the food court, and pharmacy totaled $249.6 billion, an empire of transactions, almost all of it flowing through the warehouse doors. But then, a separate line appears: membership fees. Just $4.8 billion. On paper, a mere fraction, less than 2% of total revenue. Pause for a moment. That $4.8 billion, the amount collected before a single product leaves the shelf, is not a side business. It is the engine. Costco's total operating income for 2024 was $9.3 billion. Membership fees alone account for over half of that profit, more than 51%. Strip out the fees, and the entire $249.6 billion retail operation would have produced less than $4.5 billion in operating profit, barely a 1.8% margin. The numbers are not a coincidence. They are the blueprint. Merchandise is the disguise. The card is the business. Every dollar of profit, every strategic decision is anchored to this split. The evidence is there, line by line, for anyone willing to see it. Costco enforces a rule: merchandise markups cannot exceed 14%. Not as a guideline, an internal ceiling carved into policy. Most items sit closer to 11%. Walmart and Target routinely double or triple that rate. The intent is not generosity, it is design. Take the $1.50 hot dog combo. The price has not changed since 1985, not once, not during recessions, supply shocks, or inflation spikes. When outside vendors tried to raise prices, Costco built its own factories. Executives have said the hot dog will never go up in price. The company would rather overhaul its supply chain than break that promise. The $4.99 rotisserie chicken follows the same script. Nearly 100 million are sold every year. Each one likely costs more to produce than it brings in. Costco loses tens of millions annually on chickens alone. These are not mistakes. They are deliberate loss leaders. The effect is relentless. Shoppers drive across town for a chicken or a hot dog, then fill their carts with bulk goods. The warehouse carries only about 4,000 unique items. Most supermarkets stock over 100,000. Scarcity is a tool. The limited assortment, the capped markups, the iconic loss leaders, each piece engineered to make the membership card indispensable. The real profit lies in the renewal, not the register. A prepaid fee changes everything. Once a household pays $65 or $130 for a Costco membership, the calculation is no longer about the price of milk or the cost of toilet paper. It becomes a question of extracting value, of justifying the sunk cost. Behavioral economists call this the sunk cost effect. When money is committed up front, people return again and again, determined to get their money's worth. At Costco, this psychology is not a side effect. It is the engine that keeps the warehouses full and the registers humming. The proof is in the numbers. Costco's renewal rate in the United States and Canada stands at 92.9%. That is not a loyalty program, that is a lock. Once inside, members behave differently. The prepaid card is a silent contract, binding millions to a cycle of repeat visits and larger baskets. The result is a stream of membership fees that flows predictably, quarter after quarter, immune to sales swings or economic turbulence. The real business is not the merchandise, it is the certainty of return. Inside Costco's warehouses, the merchandise is always shifting. About a quarter of all products rotate in and out, never to be seen again. The average store carries only 4,000 items, just a fraction of what fills a typical supermarket. Most of those items are staples, but at any moment a limited batch of high-end cookware or imported chocolates might appear, unannounced and unadvertised. These are not accidents. The scarcity is engineered. Members learn quickly that if they spot something unusual, they need to act. Wait too long, and it is gone. This calculated unpredictability triggers a specific response. Shoppers buy more often, and with less hesitation. The effect is measurable. Baskets grow larger, visits become more frequent. Scarcity and surprise are not side effects, they are the mechanism. The system is built to provoke impulse, to transform a routine trip for paper towels into a $400 spree. The treasure hunt is not a marketing slogan. It is a controlled experiment in consumer behavior, repeated millions of times every week. Kirkland is not just a brand, it is Costco's lever of control. Nearly $1 in every $3 spent inside a warehouse now flows to Kirkland products, batteries, vodka, olive oil, jeans, each one crafted to match or beat the quality of national brands. But the real advantage is invisible. By building its own label, Costco seizes the margin that would belong to outside vendors. The markup cap rises slightly to 15%, but Kirkland's profits do not leak out in advertising fees or retail slotting charges. Every negotiation with a supplier is backed by the threat of replacement. Brands know that if they refuse Costco's terms, Kirkland can step in, fill the shelf, and keep the member satisfied. This is vertical integration as a moat. Margin is captured in-house, and the value flows back to the member in lower prices. The cycle is self-reinforcing. Kirkland locks in trust, and trust locks in renewal. That is how the machine sustains itself. Pressure is mounting on every side. In September 2024, Costco raised its membership fees for the first time in 7 years. Gold Star climbed from $60 to $65, and Executive rose from $120 to $130. The move tests just how much value members believe they are getting. Investors watch for churn. So far, renewal rates remain above 92%. But cracks are visible. United States warehouse growth is slowing. Most major markets are saturated, and each new store risks cannibalizing another. International expansion brings new risks, including supply chain friction, unfamiliar consumer habits, and rising costs. Online, Costco lags. E-commerce accounts for less than 8% of sales in the United States. Competitors like Amazon and Walmart dominate digital, threatening to siphon off younger, convenience-focused shoppers. The fee engine is resilient, but every shock tests its limits. The question now is how elastic that loyalty really is. Amazon collects hundreds of billions in retail sales each year, but the real windfall comes from Prime subscriptions and Amazon Web Services. In 2025, AWS accounted for just 18% of Amazon's sales, yet delivered 57% of its operating profit. The store is the decoy. The cloud and the membership fee are the engine. Apple follows the same pattern. Devices bring customers in. In 2023, Apple's services division, including the App Store, iCloud, and subscriptions, generated $85.2 billion in revenue at margins above 70%. The iPhone is a gateway. The recurring charge is the business. Across the world's most valuable companies, the product is bait. The profit lives in the lock-in, the access fee is the commodity, the rest is just the storefront. This is not discount retail. It is a subscription machine, extracting $1 in profit from every $1.65 in membership fees, while the sales floor runs at break-even. In 2024, 93% renew. The real product is the customer, and the real margin is you.